How's it going, guys? So we're here using my new mic, so I do apologize. The volume adjustments are not perfect. You might even hear my fan in the background. It is so goddamn hot right now. So I will probably be running my fan most of the entire time through most of the challenges and videos, Diablo 2 videos that I'll be making. Do apologize if my new mic happens to pick it up. I got like one of the well, new ones. I'll post like a picture or something like that. I've even posted on Twitter what I got. But I am not sweating in humidity and heat to make videos. It's not worth it. So we just finished the Druid Arctic Summon Challenge run. My Druid at that moment, which is the same Druid, is at level 69, still running my same Summon Druid. However, with the new challenge run that's coming up, I've been watching a fellow YouTuber do challenge runs, and it's been getting me thinking of challenge runs and what I want to do. And basically, I'm going to be calling this the Bear Grylls Challenge Run. Now, I've seen people do it where they use no gear, they use defensive spells, they use only offensive spells, they've only used mercs and stuff like that. But one that I've never seen anyone actually do, even from Llama or Dobrunsky, and I've watched a lot of their videos, is, like I said, what I call the Bear Grylls Challenge Run. Now, this basically what's going to consist of is brand new character. However, just like Bear Grylls, he finds items and resources to survive in the wilderness. Well, we're going to kind of work the same way. So there are things called poison potions and fulminating potions, which one is poison, which one is explosive, and then you have your 3 different versions of charms. These are going to be like your resources in the woods. So unless you actually have these, you cannot use any gear. Now, for small charms and like that, once you have 3 small charms, and each small charm is going to be based for each item. So if I have 1 small charm, I can use 1 ring, two rings, and if I get 3, I can use an amulet. Large charms will allow me to use boots and gloves and a helmet. I have to have at least 3 of those in there. And for grand charms, it will allow me to use actual body armor. Now this is where things get a little more difficult, because with the poison ones and the fulminating ones, there's different versions of them, especially when you get to Nightmare and Hell difficulty, they get more stronger. But we're going to count them as just a single leveled item. If we unlock poison potions, or you find them in a chest or enemy drops them, stuff like that, they must be placed into your inventory, and it will allow you. You can't use them either, and you can use your main weapon, whatever it happens to be. If you find a fulminating potion, it will allow you to use a shield, and they have to be in there. Now, some people think, well, that's a little easy. Not as easy as you think, because if you take any of your charms out, or you're taking your potions out, you must remove that item. So it kind of clutters up your inventory a bit. It makes you think, what charms do I want to keep? How much inventory space am I going to have? But we're going to step it up another level. Actually, 2 levels. The thing is with that is like, well, once you get your gear set, it'll just be an easy breeze through all the acts. You won't have to worry about it. No. This is where the next level goes, because just like Bear Grylls, once he conquers one area, he goes to another area to survive. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Once we actually once we beat Act 1, once we enter Act 2, we're stripped of all gear. All your rings, all your boots, your gloves, every piece of gear you've accumulated from that first act, gone. You must either sell it or put it in your chest if you're going to use it for different characters and stuff like that. So you're starting off completely fresh, which makes it even more difficult. Money, on the other hand, we'll still keep, because it'll still allow us to make repairs, stuff like that. But for the final level, just looking down at a cliffside, you're afraid of heights, you feel your heart beating, you just want to peek over even further. We're going to step it up to that level. We're going to go hardcore mode. Now, if you know me for long enough, the time I played Diablo, I cannot stand hardcore mode. Most of the reasons, because once you accumulate a certain gear, a certain amount of the gear, you spend hours, you spend months, and your character dies, that's gone. permanent. You cannot get it back. That's the main reason why I almost never play hardcore challenge runs, because I'm not going to spend hours and hours accumulating gear, going through the levels, only for my character to die, to regrind all that. To regrind that up all over again. Just not happening. But I think with the Bear Grylls challenge, I think it's going to be appropriate. Potions, stuff like that, you could still use and whatnot, still keep you alive. But I think that's going to be our restrictions for it. Now, for class-wise, I was going to probably go the easier route, go with the Paladin, because he has his auras and stuff like that. And even if you don't manage to accumulate a certain amount of charms, or find the potions you need, you still have your auras to rely on, even if you're going barehanded. Seemed a little too easy. So we're actually going to step it up a tier higher. If you thought hardcore mode was more dangerous than normal mode, we're going to go higher than that. We're going to go a Barbarian. Now, Barbarians are considered to be the most hardest class in the game to play, in my opinion, and probably from Llamas and Dobronskis and any other big YouTuber, just because, yes, they start with more health, they start with more strength, stuff like that, so you can get your gear early on in the game. However, because you are a physical user, range is not going to be your best friend, especially if you decide to use a bow or javelin, stuff like that. Fine, but you're going to be limited to your ammo. Barbarians are made to be your classy bruiser class. You know, high health, a lot of damage. You know, you can have some high defense. A paladin's going to have higher defense than you probably will, but they're meant to go in there and pretty much just, you know, wipe them out as quickly as possible. That's what makes the Barbarian probably the most dangerous character to play on hardcore mode, because he physically has to be up on the front lines. And that's where our Bear Grylls challenge is going to come with the Barbarian. You know, and having to basically reset every act is going to make things even more tense, more difficult. And being in hardcore mode, if we die, that's it. You know, I will not be restarting that challenge run. So we're going to see how far as we can actually get. But like I said, I do apologize. My new mic does pick up the fan in the background, but I'm trying to keep it. Wasn't talking to you. Try to keep my room as cool as possible, because it's like 80, maybe 90 outside, and I'm not burning up in my goddamn room, that shit. But yeah, so we do a little quick look for our Druid here. I mean, mostly just lifer charms. We're packing 992 life. My face cam will be over here, so you might not see it. Mostly just a bunch of elemental rings. We are normal difficulty, just so I can explain it out of the double that crap. He didn't really get too much of a big upgrade. I mean, the ward was probably our best one we had. This was the new helmet that I found later on in the game. 1 Druid skills, 3 Grizzly, 2 Spirit Barbs. You know, the Volcano was actually becoming really nice, even though it is a level 1 spell, and then whatever bonuses I got from it was nice. This amulet I pretty much made, you know, we're pretty much rocking the Spirit. I still have an extra 4-socket of Crystal Sword, and this is all on single player too. So, yeah, we're not really rocking anything really too heavy. Merc over here, just rocking some decent stuff. Just a little simple bow I made. And then basically for, still kept the 1 point Cyclone Armor, still kept the 1 point in Arctic Blast, Shapeshifting we never touched. And then we have a level 26 Bear. He's lasted pretty long in there too. 23 Dire Wolves, 23 Wolves. I pretty much reset our characters, so Ravens and Poison Creeper weren't that high. Pretty much just put the 1 points in these ones. Wolverine I didn't really go too far in the depth tree with, because I didn't see it as entirely necessary. It was actually more dying than it actually was helping my team out. And I've pretty much been putting points into Spirited Barbs, which so far, dealing with Lister and his minions and Bale Waves, Spirited Barbs has actually helped out quite a bit. You know, because the more damage you do, the double it backs onto you. And since Lister and his minions hit extremely hard, I mean, they were just falling like Jenga pieces. But yeah, I want to show that off and let you guys know that's going to be our next challenge run. I'll probably get some recordings in later on tonight, and then it'll start sometime this week. We've had nothing but crazy ass busy weekends like that, so I've just been dead tired from work and just dealing with stupid people. So I will be releasing probably our first or 2 videos sometime within this week. So it won't be on the same scheduled days, but it will allow me to get recordings in and render them and then upload them sometime too. But either way, stay safe, healthy, and sanitized. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave comments below, make sure to share my videos. Check out my other Diablo 2 challenge runs, and make sure you're drinking plenty of water because summertime is not fun. I'll see you guys.